For many people, needlecraft is a reminder of home and family. Each and every stitch contains a mother's love for her children. But in the modern era, the pursuit for efficiency means workers are gradually being replaced by machines. Industrialization has made needlecraft much less important to people's lives. But one group of Chinese women have chosen to stay in their hometowns to bring traditional crafts back into modern society. In Qiang, Gansu province, Liu Lanfang and her friends are busy making sachets for the Dragon Boat Festival. This festival takes place at the end of spring and the beginning of summer, when rising temperatures increase the likelihood of diseases. Since ancient times, one major theme of the festival has been preventing diseases and warding off mosquitoes and evil spirits. That's why people hang up mugwort during this time. But in Qingyang, these quaint sachets serve the same purpose.
端午节我们这儿大人小孩都会佩戴香包，有一个好的开端，到年底有一个好的收获，所以他带上它都图个喜庆嘛。
The key to a good sachet lies in the spices inside it. These spices must not be mixed too early nor too late. If too early, the scent will be lost. If it is too late, there will not be enough time for filling. The unique fragrance is a result of Lanfang's dedicated research.
香包它的香气是从中草药里面对制出来的，主要的那个里面的成分有甘笋、白乳、白芷，还有白炼等等一系列。
Qingyang, in the eastern Gansu Basin, is located in the middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, on the lowest plateau, one of the birthplaces of agricultural civilization in China. During the agricultural period, people had already discovered and planted medicinal herbs, also making it the birthplace of traditional Chinese medicine. Women in Qingyang combined this knowledge with needlework to create the unique Qingyang sachet. Her knowledge of medicinal herbs and her deft hands gradually made Lanfang famous for her sachets. Then she started to think about what she could do with this craft.
我的梦想就是，能够带动我周围的人，他不要在外地去打工，他就有一份稳定的收入，而且把这个手艺能够传承下去。
To realize her dream, Lanfang decided to start a sachet workshop. She and the local women make sachets and sell them so that they can have a stable job and income without leaving their hometown. Everyone here is excited and motivated. But the transition from the family to the market is not an easy one.
我们做针线活的妇女呢，她都是家庭妇女，大部分是农村妇女。首先是她没有这个质量意识，我们要培训她们。
After the sachet workshop was established, it still proved difficult for this traditional handicraft to enter the market. After repeated attempts, Lanfang gradually learned to make sachets according to her clients' demands, resulting in more orders. By starting this business and using it to preserve her hometown tradition, Lan Fang has turned her craft into a career. She has made more friends and also gained a lot of support from her community.
我当时接了单子以后，要买辅料嘛，布料啊、线啊、配饰啊之类的东西。在我资金最困难的时候，师傅俩就给我贷小额担保资金，大概2、3天时间就帮我贷到了8万块钱的这个小额费。
The sachets made by Lan Fang are now on the market and are proving popular. These small sachets give out a fragrance of medicinal herbs and also carry the needlecraft of Qingyang women to distant parts of the world. Through their efforts, the women of Qingyang have created new opportunities for needlecraft and a new way of life on their own land. Sichuan is from the Miao ethnic group. For her, hometown means lasting memories. In her childhood, she went, with the adults, to dig for isatis roots in the mountain. This root is not just a kind of medicinal herb, but also an excellent indigo dye. Sichuan was born in a Miao village in Zhejiang County, Guizhou Province. In the past, there was a dyeing vat in front of every house. The batik technique has been passed down here for thousands of years. This is Sichuan's mother, Yang Guohua. She is nearly 90 years old. The dyeing vat in front of her door has been there for half of her life. She is a master of weaving and batik. The proof is in her hands.
染在手上嘛，都体现一下，就是我们的苗族的蜡染，会染这样的东西，就是很棒的人家。
But in the past, it was hard to make money from batik. In the 1990s, there was an exodus of young Miao people leaving their hometown and going to work in big cities. In 1998, 15-year-old Sai Chun was one of them.
I 到贵阳去打了4年的工，然后到深圳去打了5年的工才回来。我做的是那个鞋，做那个鞋厂。
Sai Chun learned the batik technique as a child, which made her very adept at hand-weaving techniques. She soon stood out in the production line at the shoe factory. Then she received a phone call that would change her life.
这多彩国这2场也会，乡政府里面的人，还有我们村里面的那个村长，就给我报了名。
Sai Chun's batik works constantly came top in contests all over Guizhou. The awards brought her opportunity, as many people wanted to buy her batik works. If there was demand for batik technique, that meant there was a chance to keep the tradition alive in the modern era. Sai Chun decided to take the initiative.
东西像我们苗族这些蜡染和刺绣，如果没有一个人带头，没有传承下去的话，以后问到什么都不知道了。
Sai Chun quit her factory job straight away. With the money she had saved, she returned to her hometown and started a batik and embroidery factory. Batik is an ancient traditional Chinese printing and dyeing craft. The batik technique used in Zhejiang County is known for its intricate style. Hundreds of fine lines are printed on a small square of fabric. Sichuan is drawing a traditional miao pattern. The dragon head and the fish tail symbolize abundance and wealth. The charm of batik lies in the natural transitions between the blue and white colors. The shades of the colors mainly depend on the experience of the person doing the dyeing.
你染了5分钟，拿出来了以后，它就变成那个这个绿色的。绿色了以后，你见风，你见了风有5分钟了以后，你放下去，你再放下去，它就变成那个蓝色的了。
As the beeswax dissolves in the boiling water, white colour starts to appear. The craft she learned in her childhood is still deeply rooted in her mind. She is happy that the Miao women's batik technique has not been lost to her generation. She also hopes to use this craft to create new business opportunities with the women in her village. But there was not much support for her efforts at the beginning.
我老公还曾经这样跟我说：“你做那些干嘛？赶快到外面去打工去了。谁要你这个东西啊？卖不了钱的，你不要做了。以后真的是赚不了钱，你要哭的。”
This is Sichuan-born village in Zhejiang County, the home of Sichuan's husband. Sichuan comes to collect the customized batik products every week. It may also have been the place where her husband changed his mind about batik. After Sichuan's batik factory was established, it became part of the local poverty alleviation program seeking markets for batik products. The women in the village make batik products at home, and the factory purchases them to sell. This has provided a stable source of income for local villagers, whilst the factory also has a stable supply and distribution channel. Nowadays, Sichuan's husband often purchases products with her to support her career. Yang Wenchuan has just returned to the village from Zhejiang. After working away from home for several years, she is finally able to build a new house for her family. Since her twin sons are about to take the senior high school entrance exam, she and her husband do not want to work in the city anymore. Currently making batik products is her main source of income. When Sichuan comes, the village women all gather together. They hope she can provide them with some guidance. Sichuan thinks Yang Wenchuan's batik technique has not yet reached the standard she requires.
就是说太长了，搞得太长了，我感觉到要粗糙一些。小太阳我感觉到好看一些。
Under Sichuan's guidance, nearly 1,000 women decide to stay in their hometown and pick up wax knives again. It takes time to master these ancient techniques. But Sichuan believes that as long as people are willing to learn it, batik technique will be passed on to future generations. In an era of great changes, having the courage to change is essential. Sichuan has never regretted her decision to return to the village. Changing does not necessarily mean leaving. Staying in the village and adapting to change is one way of preserving this valuable legacy. Deep in the mountains, a group of women in Ungawa Tibetan and Qiang Autonomous Prefecture of Sichuan Province are recovering from the trauma of a devastating earthquake by rebuilding their homes and continuing their tradition of needlecraft. In the Wenchuan earthquake of 2008, many cultural legacies that had existed for thousands of years were buried under rubble. Of the few articles that were recovered from the debris, Wang Guofang kept only this old Qiang embroidered apron. Following the stitch and pattern of her mother's apron, Guofang has embroidered a piece that is almost identical. Without her replicas, these ancient patterns could disappear from the world forever. Guofang is nearly 80 years old and has failing eyesight. But she is determined to embroider more patterns for the coming generation while she is still able. After the earthquake, many people stopped spending time on embroidery. As a result, the Sichuan Women's Federation launched a program to support Qiang Embroidery in the hope that the women could bring the craft back into their lives. Dong Jing joined the program when it began and is now a renowned teacher of Qiang embroidery. Before 2008, she worked in the city. After the earthquake, she returned to her hometown and became a volunteer for the program. Over the past 8 years, she has been to every Qiang village in Wenchuan, seeking ways to help the local women rebuild their destroyed hometowns.
我就要用我的枪绣，用我的技艺，去把别人也带到我这个团队里，跟我一起学枪绣。无论挣多少钱，我觉得对他们来说也是一种生活补贴吧。
For many local women who've joined the program, embroidery is not only a source of income, but something that feeds their souls. After the disaster, women embroidered here while comforting each other. The pain of losing family members and homes was gradually healed. Needlecraft is a heritage. It brings new hope to this land. In Qiang embroidery, there are more than 10 kinds of stitches, such as cross-stitch and flat-stitch. It is also characterized by bright colors and strong color contrasts. People from different regions use different patterns and colors. The Qiang women embroider bold patterns of flowers and plants on fabric. Zhang Zhuyue is a designer. She grew up wearing Qiang embroidery costumes and has a deep fondness for the craft. Zhuyue did not stay in the city after graduating from college. Instead, she returned to her hometown and tried to bring this traditional craft into modern life by promoting it online. Zhuyue comes here to look for ancient Qiang embroidery patterns. Some of the women in Xiuxi village have never left the mountains, but the patterns they embroider often appear in Zhuyue's designs. They are then sold online to all parts of the country. She combines Qiang embroidery with daily necessities such as cups, cushions, and notebooks. While keeping the traditional patterns, she also adds some fashionable elements to her products. She displays her designs on the internet and then asks the local women to make embroideries for them. Her products are very popular.
"最近是做的这一批我们的笔记本的这个书壳的订单，就是用的是我们枪绣的传统的图案剪纸，然后剪上去，然后就是把它贴上去，然后绣。"
For Zhuyue, the popularity of her products brings not only profits but also hope. High-quality products made with warmth will always have their own value. She believes in the value of Qiang embroidery. Preserving the craft has also given her life direction.
枪绣是我自己很喜欢的一个就是爱好，现在把它做成事业，真的是很幸福的一件事情。
The rural areas in China are undergoing great changes. Like other traditional handicrafts, these changes are having an unprecedented impact on needlecraft. But because of their love for the craft and for their hometowns, more and more Chinese women are encouraging themselves to adapt to the new era, working to create a place for their hometown and themselves in this changing world.